chance. And for today, I think I'll definitely. However, thing going on, so it's okay. It happens. So hello, how are you today? I am great. Thank you so much for having me, and I apologize for all the tech issues. Well, I better be your first guest when you have that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay, so first of all, Sharsheret, just so the word is a hard word, so let me explain. Sharsheret is the Hebrew word for chain, and it symbolizes all the connections that we can make for women and families who are facing breast cancer and ovarian cancer. We connect women with other women who are sharing the same experiences. We connect women with helpful resources, financial assistance, mental health counselors, all the things you need to address all the non medical issues you're facing from the time you're at risk for cancer, diagnosed with cancer, or even into survivorship year. So that's why Sharsheret is Hebrew for the word chain. So we're all connected. So if you think about the visual, everyone who's connected to Sharsheret, like UV, we're a link in the chain. And together we strengthen the chain for all women facing breast cancer and ovarian cancer. So the organization was founded in November 2001. So we're almost going on 22 years. Can you share a little bit about her story? Yeah, and it's actually quite timely when you think about it. So Rochelle Shorix is the founder of Sharsheret. She was a 28-year-old young woman, otherwise healthy. She was a young mom. She was a rising attorney. She had clerked for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at the time, there was no one her age at 28 dealing with what she was dealing with. There were many offers for her to speak with grandmothers and aunts, but really no one that she could talk to as a young mom to talk about balancing career and cancer, talking to her kids. She had a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, intimacy with her partner. Like, that's not what these older women were talking about. And then she was introduced to another young mom who was about 6 months ahead of her in her breast cancer journey. And she walked her through it, all those steps. And she said, there must be other young women like us out there. Let's start a group. If we can help 5 women a year, we'll be successful. And in the first year, 1,000 women reached out. 1,000. They wanted to be connected to other women. They wanted to talk about these issues. They were all active. They were young. They needed help, but they didn't want it from the older women. And that's how it started back in 2001. And the reason I say it's timely is because Rochelle lived in New Jersey and she was diagnosed in the summer of 2001. And then she was scheduled to have her first chemotherapy appointment in on September 11th, 2001. And she was supposed to drive into Manhattan. And we all know that September 11th were the attacks in New York City on the World Trade Center, and she could not get to her first chemo appointment because she couldn't get over the bridge into Manhattan. So that day was a very stressful day for the entire world, but we'll also remember it on a very personal level for Rochelle. She had to push off her treatment and start, a few weeks later.
Cool. The parents did think about that, though. Because we all gone through that reflection, yesterday, which was only 2 years ago, as well as late, and how we were so closely connected to
Right.
before those trauma.
And of course, we all know many people because we Rochelle was living in New Jersey, so it was just a tragic day on for everyone in the country and across the world. So we remember with respect for those who were lost.
So, big impact talking to situation. And so with she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So when she first started her organization, was it only focused just on breast cancer? Because that's what
Yeah, that's what she had she had experienced, and then years later, I'd say maybe around 2008, 2009, when there was more conversation about cancer genetics and the close relationship ovarian cancer has with breast cancer and the BRCA gene, the BRCA gene mutations, and both being primarily female cancers, there was a lot of interest and a lot of pressure on Sharsheret to also address women facing ovarian cancer. They don't tend to have as many resources or conversations surrounding ovarian cancer. And we had accumulated all this knowledge that could be applied also to ovarian cancer. So we made a conscious decision to expand to also include, and we've met women who had both cancers, because if they're carrying a gene mutation, it can increase both cancers. So, and families that had ovarian cancer had women who were diagnosed with breast cancer. So there was a lot of overlap, and it made sense for at that point in Sharsharet's history, if we were going to expand, it should be to something somewhat related, and ovarian cancer made the most sense.
continue with my mammograms, and I had to check that straight off that I had ovarian cancer. So that did put me in that 6% risk of getting breast cancer now because of that. And that is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to, and when we see there's increasing for other cancers too. So it's really important that we have these conversations because people don't realize that understanding family history and understanding related cancers can help protect your health in the future.
fact sheet that you have sent to me. And I just want to go ahead and say thank you guys for sending resources for my Shopper City event this past weekend. Um,
Well, thank you for that also. Thank you for that. Your good work that you're doing.
for because you can
So, yes, we have a genetic counselor on staff who is fantastic. She understands all of cancer genetics, and it doesn't cost anything. And you don't have to, you can make an appointment from your home or from your car or from your office. She's available remotely, which is amazing. And she understands everything. And she can guide you on what your risk is and how to go for genetic testing and little tips. Like, for example, if you're considering genetic testing, you don't have to worry that they'll be discriminated like for health insurance if you come out positive, but it is hard to get life insurance. So, what she would tell people is if you're considering genetic testing, set up your life insurance in advance before you get your results and things like that that you need to know. She also explains what it means to be diagnosed positive or diagnosed with negative. It's a negative doesn't mean that's the end of the story. You may have to do other things. Just getting a negative result is doesn't mean that's the end of the story. Family history plays an important part, your background, and also what's going on in your life. So I would recommend anyone on this call who is considering genetic testing or has done genetic testing, wants to know if they should do it again or understand the results. You can reach out to Peggy at Sharsheret. Her email is, and we can put it up afterwards, pcottrell@sharsheret.org. She'll set up a one-on-one call. You're the only person on with her. You can bring a family member if you want. It's free, it's confidential, and she will give you all the guidance you need to do to make an informed decision on when and if you should do genetic testing and how to do it. So the truth is it's gone down a lot. If you had tested years ago, it was in the thousands. It's still $250, which is not nothing. But we do have places that are doing studies and places where you can get financial assistance. So she can also help with that. We have special codes. So, but you can probably get genetic testing for $250 or less. But again, Peggy is the expert and she can help you find very affordable genetic testing. We do not recommend that people do something like 23andMe, which is primarily for entertainment purposes. We really recommend you speak with a genetic counselor like Peggy and go to reliable laboratories that will do a full comprehensive genetic test that really addresses your genetics based on your background.
running for both men and women, there is the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene mutations. Can you talk a little bit about the BRCA1 or BRCA2?
Okay, so everybody's born with a BRCA gene. It stands for breast cancer. But this gene, if there's something wrong with it, something you have a mutation, you increase your risk for cancer. So if you are a woman who is carrying a genetic mutation in a BRCA gene, in a BRCA gene, you have a significantly increased risk for breast cancer, up to 80%. And for ovarian cancer, it could be anywhere between 40 and 60%. So this is a much greater risk. Look, our greatest risk for cancer, these cancers, is being women. That's a huge risk. But when you carry mutation, it shoots up significantly. And not only that, if you are diagnosed with cancer and you find out you carry a gene mutation, you're going to get a different treatment than someone who doesn't carry the mutation. There's been a lot of research and a lot of development surrounding medication and treatment targeting cancers that are caused by genetic mutations. So, which is good news for people who are unlucky to get this mutation, that there are medications that go directly to your type of cancer and can help prevent recurrence. And also for men, you mentioned men, so that's really important. A lot of people don't know this. Like if somebody says to you, "Oh, what's your family history of breast cancer, ovarian cancer?" They tend to think of their mom's family. But the dad's family is equally as important because a man carry these mutation and pass them on. So for men, it's important because number one, they could pass it on to their daughters and their sons. But they themselves, if they carry a mutation, they're at increased risk for pancreatic cancer, prostate cancer, melanoma, and male breast cancer. So that's why when we talk about BRCA, BRCA mutations, it's not just about women, it's about the men too. So if they're on this call, if you have any men and you're thinking about genetic testing, you can call Peggy too. Sharsheret helps men too.
Be able to have this communication. So that's why I talk about with the flow. Because the people advocating Lutheran and they ain't not of this every space. And this is very eye opening for anyone that's probably going through a cancer journey or recovering from one, or maybe just recently newly diagnosed with breast cancer. So this is something that they definitely need to.
Like, I want to give you an example so you understand. So, we had a woman who called us because her father's father had pancreatic cancer, and she had no idea that that had any impact on her. So when she went to the doctor, she always said, "Oh, there's no breast cancer, there's no ovarian cancer in my family." Well, the father ended up testing because he had pancreatic cancer, and it found out that he had a BRCA gene mutation. So she and her sister tested, and now they know that they have BRCA gene mutations. So there was no breast cancer, there was no ovarian cancer, but she knew that prostate or pancreatic could be related. So when her father tested, it educated the whole family, and he probably through his diagnosis is saving the whole family's lives because now they'll do extra surveillance and take other measures to protect their health. 100%. For sure, it saves lives. Early detection saves lives.
Yeah, need it treatment and they need some support, just somebody to talk to. They
So the answer is yes. Sharsheret's one-on-one support, and this is with skilled, trained social workers or the genetic counselor. You are could be at any point in the cancer journey. Look, when you go for a mammogram, and every woman starting at 40 should be getting her mammograms. And if someone in your family had cancer, you start 10 years earlier. But you sometimes on a mammogram, they'll find something and it's very scary, and they do a biopsy. And waiting for the results is very stressful. You can call Sharsheret at that time just to help you manage that because you're not telling anybody. And it's a very isolating experience. And that fear of maybe being diagnosed with cancer is a time to reach out to Sharsheret and we can help you. And then, like you said, you could be 10 years out of a cancer treatment and a survivor, and new issues come up, or you're concerned about children that you have. Maybe you have a daughter who's a teenager, or thinking about getting married and how does it affect her? You can call Sharsheret. Really, at every stage, we say before, during, and after cancer. Right. Well, we are where you are. So wherever you are, we do a ton of virtual events. So first I'll put that out there and I'll do a little promo for us. I don't know when this is airing, but It's going to be archived if it's not, but for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, we are doing a webinar that's called Should I Take Out My Ovaries? A lot of women are asking, like, they're very scared of getting ovarian cancer. Should I take them out? And when do I take them out? The Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance recommends that if any woman who's past childbearing years is going in for pelvic surgery, she should remove her fallopian tubes. So I have friends who are calling me. So does that mean I should take them out? Should I take them out now? How does it work? So we're going to have 3 gynecologic oncologists come on to a webinar. Very quick. You can watch from home. No big deal. And ask your personal questions. They're going to share their own experience. 2 of them, I think, are BRCA gene carriers, and they're in the field, and they themselves have gone through testing and trying to prevent ovarian cancer and breast cancer. So I encourage everyone, it's a free webinar. Maybe you can share it with your viewers for September 20th, and you can learn a lot about prevention and what you can do to protect your health. And that's the kind of education outreach we're doing. 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. And then whatever is central somewhere in between. I don't know. So if you could remind them on all, as we get closer, it's Wednesday, next Wednesday. So definitely, if you want to remind everybody, we would love that. As many people as we can get on, as more people will save their lives.
And people are, things are coming back positive. You just kind of want to make sure that you're okay. But you take these out so that way you don't have to worry about
Right.
the cancer.
And they don't know where ovarian cancer starts, right? There's a question. It could be in the fallopian tubes, which that's what they're thinking. So it really should probably be called fallopian tube cancer. But by the time it presents, they find it in the ovaries. So it's really good that we're having these conversations, because if you are past childbearing years, it does, there are things they can do. So maybe you don't start menopause so early, but they're definitely seeing almost 100% success rate by removing these fallopian tubes. And their women are not getting ovarian cancer that under other circumstances may have died from ovarian cancer.
It makes a difference. Or your webinars, they're on a virtual platform. Are there other things or things you do in person?
Yeah. So on average, we do about 500 events a year. So we're on 150 college campuses. We are out there educating young women and men about their risk, the importance of knowing family history, and how to care for loved ones. Many people on college campuses have moms or sisters or aunts, or they themselves are at risk. So we educate them on understanding the incidence of cancer and also how to care for family members, which I think community members and your community, how do we help those of our community who are going through cancer? What are helpful ways? And we do that. So because we start on college campuses, there are 150 college campuses every year doing events for Sharsheret. And then in local communities, we do events wherever you want. You could be playing bingo, and they have an educational component. Sharsheret will send a speaker and give out materials and show videos. So you're going there for a night of entertainment, and we'll stick in the education at the same time. And people like that. They don't want to come out and hear about cancer necessarily, but they want to come out to be social, meet people, and also learn about how to take care of their health. So we're doing events like that. So as soon as we find a volunteer in a community who says, "Hey, I'd love for you to come to our local center and do an event, we're there. We're sending people, we have volunteers, we train people to speak all over the country, and we are in Oklahoma. You're going to be our speaker at the next event when someone calls us. We're like, we have an amazing speaker. Check out Share the Tea with V. She's going to be your speaker.
So what's that community action event? So we're talking about the different universities that you're in. And so there's one that was mentioned, I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's the lounge and it's
Okay, so that's like a bar and bat mitzvah. So when Jewish kids become 13 years old, they're considered adults. And very often, as part of the celebration of this milestone, they want to do something that is social action. So we have these young adults who are out there in their community and they do some kind of social action in celebration of this milestone. So it doesn't have to be strictly for bar and bat mitzvah girls and boys. It could be really anyone in their community as they mark a milestone can do things. So they'll do things like raise money, raise awareness. Sometimes they'll do a baking activity and dedicate the evening to someone who might be going through cancer, and everyone will do a prayer. So there's all different types of things. Maybe they'll create interesting projects for young kids whose moms are going through cancer. So it could be anything they do. They can go, we created these chemo kits. They brought them to a cancer ward in their community and handed them out to women during treatment. So it depends what their social action is. Sometimes it's related to cancer, and sometimes it's raising money. And sometimes it's just a good deed, like they'll help younger kids study for a test, whatever it is, but they'll dedicate it and Sharsheret will help them plan that project so it's meaningful. And then when they have their birthday celebration or their, what we say, b'nai mitzvah, the bar mitzvah or the bat mitzvah, they then speak and they share some kind of important information, whether it's statistics or what Sharsheret does. So it becomes social action. Yes, yes. And I have to tell you, it's actually so good because so I talk about Sharsheret all the time. So, and it's, I brought it to my kids' school because they have Pink Day. Sharsheret runs Pink Day in schools, in high schools all across the country in February. So, when a good friend of mine was diagnosed, she told her son, he was like in ninth grade in high school, and she said, I was just diagnosed with breast cancer. And he said, oh, breast cancer, is that Sharsheret? And she said, yeah. He's like, oh, you're going to be okay. So it took the fear factor out because these kids were so used to seeing Pink Day and doing awareness and doing these social action activities that when his mom was going through it, he wasn't scared and he was empowered to help her. And today she's doing great and he's doing great. So it's important to have these conversations with your kids at an appropriate level. Like we don't give them things that's not appropriate for them. So Pink Day is in it's right. Everyone thinks Pink Day is October, but we know breast cancer is every day, right? Honestly, it's not October. So it started out that a few schools said, like, we can't do it in October. It's just when the school year starts. Like here in the East Coast, we start like after Labor Day. So to do something in October, they're like, we don't have enough time. And college campuses too. So now I think it's the first or second Wednesday every year. Hundreds of high schools and colleges and organizations and stores dedicate a day to raising awareness in the middle of February. And everybody wears pink. It's very engaging on Instagram. And we're sending multiple resources. Anyone, we print thousands and thousands of brochures and flyers. And then ultimately, we get calls from women who say, I learned about you because my kid and Pink Day or my organization, everyone was wearing pink and we asked why. And I have these questions and I knew about Sharsheret. Yes, Pink Day 2024. We're already signed up.
when I met like your associate at the oh goodness, don't leave me now. Sorry, my mind is like I remember it's a retreat. A retreat in May. And Dallas, Texas, for National Ovarian Cancer Coalition. Your associate was there, and Paul was asking for questions. It's a Jewish Baptist community organization. And also, I know well that it doesn't necessarily apply to city. And it's a little bit about that.
Right. So Sharsheret is a Jewish organization. We were started by a Jewish woman. The Jewish community is known to have a higher incidence of the BRCA gene mutation. There's been studies on this community, but that doesn't mean that women in other communities do not carry the mutation. We just have a concentrated number, so 1 in 40. But there are those outside the Jewish community definitely who are carrying the BRCA gene mutation and also have cancer. So our programs are open and are serving women and men of all backgrounds. And you just have to be comfortable with the word Jewish. It's going to be there. And there are Jewish holiday observances, but they're very welcoming, very inclusive. And we welcome everybody. And honestly, there's a lot of overlap in all different communities of all different backgrounds. And things that you want to take advantage of, you're more than welcome to. And those that you don't, that's okay too. So, yes, it's very Jewish and includes everybody anywhere of any background. Yeah, you are welcome. And the truth is about 20% of the women who reach out to Sharsheret are not Jewish.
It's really strong. That really makes a significant impact in the community, not just where you're located but globally. And I really appreciate you doing that. So do you guys have something that in the next for the rest of this year for myself?
Well, I definitely think the webinars are great. We have something called a summit. So for 2 weeks in October, we will be doing multiple webinars. We're doing a pre-summit with the ovarian cancer webinar and doing trainings for speakers because we have about 100 events going on in October and we need to send speakers to all these events. So we're going to have some pre-summit happening now this month. And then from the middle of October to the end of October, everyone should check out the Sharsheret Summit. There's tons of educational opportunities. There's a website that has an educational corner and resources that everyone can access at any time that are provided by our partners. We have a lot of partners all over the country. And then there are also in-person events, so you can check one out. I don't know offhand if there's one in Oklahoma, but if someone's interested in hosting one as part of Sharsheret Summit, give me a call. I'm going to put you on that list. And so that's coming up in mid-October. And really, anyone who sends us their email, we can update you on events that are coming down the pike. And we also have on our website upcoming events. But everything Sharsheret does is every education outreach, everything is free. All of our resources are free. Speaking, you could call our social worker once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year. It doesn't cost you anything. We're very happy. That's what we're here for. We're eager to speak to you. We also provide financial assistance to low income cancer patients. So if someone is struggling out there financially, call us. We're projected to give away $1 million this year. So if there's something that we could be helpful with, there are things we're doing like human hair wigs, microblading, cold capping if women want to try to preserve their hair during chemotherapy. There's also a fund for emergency relief. So, it's nothing to be, ashamed of. Take advantage of what we can offer you. And then not only you can benefit from the financial assistance, but then you have access to our kits. Like if a young mom is going through cancer, we have a busy box where it's a starter kit of toys and games to keep your kids busy while mom is either resting after treatment or going for an appointment. We have a makeup kit called Best Face Forward. So if you're going through chemotherapy and radiation, Sharsheret will send you, again, free of charge, free products that help you outline eyebrows and address the skin changes and Also has a makeup card. So let's say you have to go for an interview or you have a family celebration. There's a card that was designed by a makeup artist to how to put on makeup when you look a little bit different when you don't have hair. So we have all these kits that we'll send out. If you've just had a mastectomy, we have a mastectomy kit. If you're about to start chemotherapy, we have a chemotherapy kit. So you might be calling because you need financial assistance, but hey, you get the whole package, all these resources and kits that address things that you didn't even know you had to worry about. Sharsheret's already solved the problem by sending you the kit. And again, you don't have to go anywhere. You just put in the order, everything comes to you. And even for survivors, we know that after cancer, it's so important to eat healthy, exercise, keep your appointments. So we created a survivorship kit that has exercise bands, different cookbooks that you can choose from, a little notebook so you can keep track of what doctors you need to see, and other really helpful survivorship resources. Free, mailed to you. Just give us your name and your address, and it will arrive when you need it most.
That was the trouble, to try to draw them on and then if I get hot, I do this and then it's on. So, trust me, that is something that we definitely need, just to make ourselves feel better. The stress and worry about what's going to happen. So that makes us get definitely would say, like, so who does whoever put that together? So I'm like, that's it. So are they agencies just, in regards to the kids? It doesn't matter what, like survivor years they are, it doesn't matter.
Right. So, for example, if you're not going in for chemotherapy and radiation, you're not really a candidate for the makeup kit. But if you are, you can. Meaning, you're not going to want the makeup kit 10 years out because it's not going to be applied for what you need. But the survivorship kit will be, and other things that we have. So definitely it's worth it to have a conversation with one of our social workers. It's super easy. You call, they connect you with someone, you can email, you can live chat, you can text. We want to make it easy. We know that you're busy enough as it is with your everyday life. Cancer, no one has time for that. So Sharshara will work into your life to make sure that you get what you need when you want it, how you want it.
You know, the computer's run, and the loved one able to order one for them.
So we've been doing that. We want to be careful about, um, we don't like to stalk people, right? So meaning if someone didn't call share because they're not ready, we understand. So if a friend orders it, what we could do is we could send it to you. So let's say you call us and you say, my friend Jill is going through this now. And we could say, okay, listen, we can't mail it to Jill because Jill hasn't called us yet. And we want Jill to call when she's comfortable, but we could tell us about Jill. We'll send it to you, and then you could give it to Jill so that we maintain, you can mail it to her or something like that. The other thing is we also have kits for family members and friends. So if you have a best friend going through it, yes, you can order a kit. You can tell us how old her kids are or whatever, but then we'll also send something for you as a caregiver. Definitely helpful tips, and because we know it's hard on you too. It's obviously not the same, but if you're caring for someone and we can help you care for someone you love.
Do you have a support group? You just want to solve talk to social worker?
Yes. So, and like I said, the first call a lot of times doesn't come from the person who's going through it. It's from their friend. Because I'd say 9 out of 10 times they say, look, my friend isn't ready to call, but she has a doctor's appointment and we don't know what questions to ask. Within 3 seconds, we will text you as her friend. You're going to see the surgeon tomorrow. These are the 10 top questions you should ask. You should take a notebook with you, take a pen with you, sit with her. You can call us from there also and ask us questions, but we prepare people for everyone on your medical team. So if you're going to a plastic surgeon for reconstruction, or you're going to the breast surgeon, or to a gynonc, or you're going to anyone, we can help you prepare for that appointment so that you're asking all the questions so that you have all the information you need to make a good decision on what you should do next. Yeah, so that's why you should call us. Anyone who's concerned or living with breast cancer or ovarian cancer, pick up the phone and call us or email us or text us. We're here. So on Instagram, we're Sharsheret official, I think. And on Facebook, we're Sharsheret. And then online, we're sharsheret.org. SHARSHERET.org. But if hopefully our search engine's working well and you could find us and try to put us in. But I know that you're sharing it. So if you link us, they'll find us. So if you tag us.
With the symptoms of ovarian cancer, you have pain, fatigue, heartburn, pelvic abdominal pain, urinating frequently or often, constipation, feeling full, and then pain going back. And so this is called a silent killer for a reason. What is something that you would encourage for them if they're going through any of these?
Okay, so first of all, every symptom seems normal, right? Which one of us has not had every single one of the, I mean, I'm getting up in the middle of the night. I don't know about anybody else. But so I think if you see that it's happening more than a day or two at a time, like you should not be afraid to call your doctors and tell them and say, I was just on a Sharsheret webinar and I heard these are the signs and symptoms. You need to be your best advocate and push your doctor. Look, ovarian cancer is not so common, but it does happen. So if these symptoms are happening more than a day or so and you're nervous, go to your doctor and mention ovarian cancer. And they'll say, like, it's probably not, but thanks, let's talk. And then they'll probably see if it continues and connect you to the right doctors. But you can also call Sharsheret if you have those symptoms, and we'll help you know who. We don't give medical advice, but we can tell you like what doctor you should call, how you should mention it to your doctor. You can call us and we can teach you how to be your own advocate. Yes. And also, if you're not 40, you should be getting a physical exam at your annual checkup.
Within 10 years.
Right. So if you have a mother or a sister who's had breast cancer, let's say at 42, you're not waiting till 40 to do a mammogram. You're going to have one at 32. Oh, and one more thing we should talk about, which I think is very common, is that if you have dense breasts, and there's no way to know this by just looking at them, but dense breast increases the risk for cancer. So when you go for your mammogram or you go to your radiologist or your OBGYN or whoever you're talking to, say, do I have dense breasts? They can only figure that out if they do a scan. And once they know you have dense breasts, mammogram's not enough. You have to talk to them about a sonogram and an MRI. So I'm just putting it out there. Dense breasts. A lot of young women have dense breasts. So ask your doctors about it. Oh, you do?
They call me back and say, oh, for today we need to bring you in because we suspect something. So, go and do another test, and so we need to take you up for an MRI. And they did mention that you have get threat and they're concerned about something that they saw, like a spot or something. And when I tell you, that was like nerve wracking.
It's cool. The waiting period, it's terrible.
That it is very terrible. And it's fun. And so what I have to do going forward every 6 months I have a mammogram, and then the other 6 months I do it. So, that, and I just did one last month ago, and everything.
Yay. No, that's good. And everyone who's listening, like literally you need to keep your appointments. We know that in COVID, a lot of people delayed appointments and are hard getting back into the routine, but you know what, guys? Make those appointments. You got to do it.
You feel, and they just don't want to deal with it. That's what I'm trying to contact you for.
Definitely. Same. I hear it all the time. It's terrible.
52 days, we have covered a lot of information.
I know I talk a lot. I'm sorry. I just like, I'm very passionate about this and I want everybody to be okay, so I can't keep my mouth shut.
Go to their website, connect with them for resources and support for your family or just for yourself. And early, and don't be afraid. Have someone that you can talk to, whether it's a social worker, friends, whomever. But just reach out and get that support that you need. I do want to say, if you're a follower with me on social media, thank you for the support. I do want to let you guys know you may hear this little echo, and that's because we've been having something called. So your phone is not tripping. It's happening. But anyway, so we want to wrap up and let you guys know to make sure you tune in next week for sure to Tuesday. Follow me on all social for everything that you do. And I do appreciate you following me. And thank you again, Elana.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Really, really appreciate it. And I feel so honored that you welcomed us. Thank you. You got it. Thank you.